Mara Ellis sat under glass walls and bank lighting, asking for money to kill a weed. Not expand the farm, not buy new land. Not chase some dream, just kill a pale ugly plant that had swallowed her rice fields from ditch to ditch. 6 weeks later, that same weed would be sold to luxury kitchens for $480 an ounce. But, in that office, Daniel Voss only saw a failure. He sat across from her in a charcoal suit, scrolling through her loan file with one clean finger. "Mara," he said, without looking up, "you have missed 2 operating payments. Your spring rice stand is down 38%. Your fuel note is behind. And now you are asking this institution for another $146,000. It's for a tract cutter and a hydraulic rake," Mara said. Her voice sounded too small in that room. Outside the window, beyond the parking lot and the trimmed boxwoods, the Arkansas Delta was already burning under July heat. "I don't need equipment for comfort," she said. "I need it before the North Paddies die." Daniel looked up then. "The North Paddies died because you planted late. They died because saltglass took the water." The word hung there. Saltglass. That was what her father had called it the first summer it crawled out of the drainage canal. Nobody from the county extension office had given it a proper name. It grew in flooded ground, silver green and sharp-edged, with stems that looked almost transparent when the sun hit them. From a distance, the field glittered. Up close, it was a nightmare. It wrapped itself around rice shoots, it drank through the mud, it left the good plants yellow and limp, like they had been boiled in place. Mara leaned forward, both hands flat on Daniel's perfect desk. "I can still save 30 acres if I can rake the roots out this week. If I wait until harvest, I won't have a harvest." Daniel clicked the tablet off. That tiny sound felt like a gate locking. "You are blaming a biological nuisance for a business failure." Mara's jaw tightened. "I am telling you what is in my field. And I am telling you what is in your file." He opened a folder and slid one sheet toward her. Notice of accelerated review. It was not foreclosure yet. That was the mercy built into the wording. But beneath the soft language was a hard number. 60 days. If Mara could not bring the farm current in 60 days, Delta Plains Agricultural Credit Union would begin seizure of the land. The Ellis place had survived 3 floods, 2 droughts, 1 tornado, and her husband's funeral. Now a banker who had never stood knee-deep in paddy mud was telling her a weed had beaten it. Daniel folded his hands. "I suggest you start talking to equipment brokers while your tractors still have value." Mara looked at the paper, then she looked at him. "My father used to say, a field tells the truth before a ledger does." Daniel almost smiled. "Your father is not underwriting this loan." Mara did not answer. She picked up the notice, folded it once, and walked out before he could see her hands shake. The drive home ran straight through flat rice country, past irrigation wells, soybean rows, and empty 2-lane roads shimmering with heat. When Mara turned onto County Road 18, she could see the North Paddies from half a mile away. They should have been green. Instead, they shone like broken glass. Acres of saltglass cress shimmered in the standing water, silver stems bending in the hot wind, serrated leaves floating between the rice rows like the farm had been invaded by something from the bottom of the ocean. Her son Eli was on the porch when she pulled in. 17 years old. Too thin from working summer days that should have belonged to school and sleep. Boots still muddy. Ball cap low over his eyes. He did not ask what the bank said. He saw the paper in her hand and stepped down without a word. Mara tried to speak, nothing came out. Eli took the notice, read the first line, and his face changed in a way that hurt her more than the bank ever could. So they're taking it. In 60 days, Mara said. He stared past her, toward the patties. The weed wins. That broke something in her. Mara turned, walked to the shed, grabbed a hay hook, a rusted rake, and an old propane torch she used for ditch work. Mama. If the bank wants a dead farm, she said, I'll show them one. She marched into the north paddy with water sucking at her boots. Saltglass snapped under her rake. Its stems were crisp on the outside and wet inside, releasing a clear sap that slicked her gloves. She tore out armfuls, flinging them onto the levee. Eli followed, scared enough to stay close and smart enough not to argue. For an hour, Mara worked like grief had become muscle. She ripped. She dragged. She cursed every silver stem her hands could reach. By sunset, they had a mound of saltglass piled beside the old syrup kettle behind the shed. Mara shoved the torch into the heap. The flame caught the dry edges first. Then steam rolled out thick and white. Mara expected the stink of swamp rot. Instead, the air changed. Eli lifted his head. Mama, what is that? Mara froze. The vapor coming off the weeds did not smell like weeds. It smelled like brown butter in an iron skillet. Like green onion over open flame. Like lemon peel crushed into hot salt. And underneath all of it, something deep and expensive, like roasted mushrooms in ocean air. Mara stepped closer, the clear sap had turned amber along the cut stems. It bubbled at the edges, thick and glossy, clinging to the leaves like syrup. Don't, Eli said, already knowing what she was thinking. Mara broke off a clean blistered tip from the edge of the pile, far from the flame. It was madness, it was exhaustion. It was a woman with 60 days left and no room for being sensible. She touched the stem to her tongue. Her eyes went wide. It hit bright first, like lime and sorrel. Then it opened into something warm and savory, a flavor she had no farm word for. It tasted like butter without butter. Salt without salt. Garlic without garlic. A wild green that somehow already knew how to be cooked. Eli stared at her. You okay? Mara held out the stem. Try this part, just this clean piece. He hesitated, took the smallest bite possible, and stopped breathing for half a second. That's not a weed. Mara looked back at the field. The north paddies glittered in the dark. For the first time all summer, they did not look dead. At 4 the next morning, Mara filled 3 produce crates with clean saltglass tips, packed them over ice, and drove to Memphis. She did not have a booth, she did not have a brand, she did not even have a legal name for the plant. She had a folding table, a handwritten sign that said Delta Greens, and a wet cardboard box full of the thing that was killing her farm. By 10 o'clock, the farmer's market was busy. People bought peaches. People bought honey. People bought sourdough from a man with a line 20 customers long. Nobody bought the silver weeds. One woman leaned over the crate, frowned, and asked if it was aquarium grass. A man asked whether it was safe for goats. By noon, the ice had begun to melt through the bottom of the box. Eli wiped the table with a towel and said what Mara had been thinking. We drove 2 hours to be embarrassed in public. Mara started folding the sign. Then a woman in a linen blazer stopped in front of the table. She was not shopping like the others. She was scanning. Sharp eyes. Short black hair. Small notebook in one hand. A chef's knife tattooed along the side of her wrist. What is this? Mara looked up. Wild paddy cress. The woman lifted one stem. Who grows it? I do. On purpose. Mara almost laughed. Not exactly. The woman put the raw tip in her mouth. Mara watched her chew once. Then the woman went still. The whole market seemed to keep moving around her, but she had disappeared into the flavor. She took another bite. This time she closed her eyes. When she opened them, the softness was gone from her face. Who else has tasted this? No one. Who bought it? What restaurant has it? None. What distributor? Lady, I brought it here in a crawfish cooler. The woman reached into her bag and pulled out a business card. Savannah Ree, Ingredient Director. Citrine Hospitality Group. Mara did not know the name, but she knew the kind of card: thick paper, embossed letters, money pretending not to show itself. Savannah lowered her voice. This tastes like sea bean, sorrel, toasted allium, and black truffle. Had a child nobody registered with the government. Eli blinked. Is that good? Savannah looked at him. That is impossible. She pulled out her phone and photographed the stems from 3 angles. What do you call it? Saltglass. Savannah shook her head. No, not for kitchens. She picked up the crate like it was full of diamonds. This is Delta Glass Cress now. Mara folded her arms. You buying it or naming it? Savannah opened her wallet, placed $600 on the table, and said, everything in this box. And if my chef agrees with me, I need 40 pounds by Monday morning. Mara stared at the money. For how much? $60 an ounce for the first clean harvest, more if it survives heat. Eli did the math out loud by accident. That's $960 a pound. Savannah smiled without warmth. Now you understand why I'm not leaving this table until you tell me your full name. By Sunday night, the Ellis farm looked like a crime scene lit by headlamps. Mara and Eli moved through the north paddies in the dark, cutting only the youngest tips of the saltglass cress, leaving the roots intact. The same roots Mara had wanted dead 2 days earlier. Don't pull it, she told Eli, cut above the joint. If this thing grows back, we need it growing. He laughed once. It came out half panic, half hope. We're farming the enemy. No, Mara said, dropping another handful into the ice bin. We're listening late. They worked until their hands cramped. They packed 43 pounds in shallow trays, layered with damp cloth and ice. Mara drove before sunrise with the cooler strapped in the truck bed and the bank notice folded in her glove box like a threat she refused to reread. Savannah met her behind a restaurant in New Orleans called Horizon. Its dining room had no sign out front. Its kitchen looked like a laboratory built inside an old brick warehouse. Beside Savannah stood Chef Matteo Varela, the man whose name was on the door. He had silver at his temples, burn scars across one wrist, and the stillness of a person used to making whole rooms nervous. This is the farmer, he asked. Mara stepped out of the truck. This is the cress, she said. She opened the first cooler. Cold vapor spilled over the tailgate. Matteo leaned in. He did not smile. He did not speak. He just picked up one stem, snapped it, and smelled the break. His eyes changed. Not much. Enough. Pan, he said. Inside the kitchen, he dropped a handful of saltglass into brown butter and hot steel. The leaves blistered in 3 seconds. The kitchen filled with that impossible smell: butter, lime, roasted garlic, sea salt, dark earth after rain. Every cook within 20 feet stopped working. Matteo lifted the greens onto a white plate, added a pinch of flaky salt, and tasted. He set the fork down carefully, too carefully. Savannah watched him. Well, Matteo looked at Mara like she had arrived carrying weather. There are chefs paying more than $4,000 a pound for white truffles that arrive bruised, late, and half dead, he said. There are coastal greens that collapse before service. There are imported leaves with beautiful names and no spine. He tapped the plate. This holds heat, it carries acid. It tastes expensive before we touch it. Mara's throat went dry. What does that mean? It means I want exclusivity. Savannah stepped in. Prime tips at $480 an ounce, secondary cuts at $275. We advance you $75,000 today against first right of refusal for the season. Eli, who had come along to unload, grabbed the edge of the prep table. Mara did not move. For a second, she was back in the bank office, hearing Daniel Voss say her father was not underwriting the loan. Then she looked at the plate. The field had been speaking before the ledger did. She just had not understood the language. I'll sign a supply agreement, Mara said, but not until the bank is current. Mateo's eyes narrowed. Bank trouble. 60 days. Savannah and Mateo exchanged a look. It was quick. It was enough to tell Mara that expensive kitchens understood predators, too. The retainer cleared before 5 o'clock. $75,000 landed in Mara's account with a number so clean it looked unreal. The next morning, Daniel Voss called before breakfast. His voice was warmer than it had ever been. Mara, I saw a significant deposit posted to your operating account. I told you I was bringing the farm current. Yes, about that. She stepped onto the porch. Across the road, the north patties flashed silver under the morning sun. Daniel continued, under the terms of accelerated review, any high-value crop or biologic asset discovered on secured acreage may be considered collateral until the full debt obligation is satisfied. Mara's grip tightened on the phone. You called it a biological nuisance. That was before market valuation changed. Market valuation didn't change the plant. It changed what you wanted from it. A silence. Then Daniel's voice flattened. The board has authorized immediate protective action. Until your entire outstanding balance is resolved, you are not to harvest, sell, transfer, damage, or encumber any plant material from the north patties. Our field agent will arrive tomorrow to document the asset. Mara could hear her own pulse. You're trying to freeze my crop. We are protecting collateral. You're stealing what you laughed at. Be careful, Mrs. Ellis. The title landed wrong. Like a hand on her shoulder from behind, Daniel said, if you interfere, the credit union can petition for emergency possession before the 60-day period expires. The call ended. Mara stood there with the phone in her hand. Eli came out carrying coffee. What did he want? She looked across the shining field. For 2 months, she had fought saltglass because it would not die. Now she needed to become just as stubborn. Mara called Savannah. No greeting. The bank is trying to stop harvest and claim the crop as collateral. Savannah went quiet. Then, how much clears the debt completely? $318,000, including penalties. Can Mateo advance it? Not for exclusivity. Not if the bank can challenge the contract before the land is free. Savannah understood before Mara finished. You want buyers. I want every chef who thinks they deserve what Mateo wants. Mara, open competition will make him furious. Good, Mara said. Furious people bid. By midnight, the Ellis drying barn had power lines run from 2 rented generators, plastic tubs packed with ice, and folding tables laid end to end under bare work lights. Savannah made calls that sounded less like invitations and more like threats. By the next evening, the gravel road in front of the farm was lined with black SUVs, rental cars, and 1 refrigerated van from Chicago. Chefs came in dark jackets, buyers came in linen and leather shoes that sank into mud. One distributor from Atlanta complained about mosquitoes, until Eli handed him a bottle of repellent and said, "Welcome to the source." Mateo arrived last. His face was calm. That was worse than anger. You turned my discovery into an auction. Mara stood in front of the iced trays. No, I turned my foreclosure into a clock. Mateo looked past her at the silver-green mountain of cress under the lights. How much? 380 pounds harvested today. 8-pound lots, cashier's checks or verified wire escrow only. Starts at $38,000 a lot. A chef from Nashville laughed. Then Savannah crushed a handful of cress in a hot pan over a portable burner. The smell filled the barn. No one laughed again. At 8 o'clock, Savannah stood on an overturned feed bin with a clipboard. Lot 1, 8 pounds of prime Delta glass cress, cut less than 6 hours ago. Opening bid, $38,000. Mateo raised his hand before she finished the sentence. A buyer from Chicago raised higher. A New York group jumped in. Then a seafood house from Charleston that wanted it for an oyster course. The numbers climbed so fast, Eli stopped trying to whisper the math. 46,000, 52, 61, 70. The first lot sold to Mateo for $72,000. He looked personally insulted by the price and deeply relieved to own it. By the third lot, the barn had changed. It was no longer a farm building with bad wiring and wet floors. It was a battlefield of appetite, ego, and supply. These people were not buying greens, they were buying rarity, they were buying first access, they were buying the right to say they had found the flavor before everyone else did. At 1:17 in the morning, the last chilled tray left the barn. The numbers were written in black marker on cardboard because Mara had run out of proper forms. $706,000 in verified payments, enough to clear the bank, enough to hire counsel, enough to repair the pump house and still put money aside for a harvest that, 3 days earlier, she had been trying to burn. Mara sat on the barn steps after everyone left. Eli dropped beside her. Neither of them spoke for a long time. The field was dark now, but they could hear water moving softly through the paddies. Finally, Eli said, "Grandpa would have lost his mind." Mara smiled. No. He would have pretended he knew it all along. At 8:42 the next morning, Mara walked into Delta Plains Agricultural Credit Union wearing clean jeans, a white shirt, and boots still marked by a thin line of paddy mud. Daniel Voss came out of his office when he saw her. "Mara, this is not a good time." "It is for me." She laid a folder on the reception counter. Inside were cashier's checks, wire confirmations, and a letter from a farm attorney Savannah had found before sunrise. $318,000, Mara said, "that satisfies the operating note, the mortgage delinquency, the penalties, and every fee your office added after the review notice." Daniel's face changed color slowly. He opened the folder. His eyes moved across the numbers. "You harvested after receiving verbal notice." "I harvested before receiving legal possession order. Your attorney knows it." "Mine knows it. And if you want to argue over a plant you called worthless in writing, I brought the email." Daniel looked up. For the first time since Mara had known him, he had no prepared sentence. She stepped closer and lowered her voice. "You read the file and saw a failing farm, you drove past my fields and saw weeds. You only saw value when someone richer told you where to look." His hand tightened on the folder. "The credit union reserves." "No," Mara said, not loud. "Just final. The credit union gets paid. The lien gets released. And if anyone from this building steps onto my north paddies without permission again, the next conversation happens in court." Behind Daniel, through the glass wall of his office, Mara could see his desk. The same desk where he had slid the notice toward her. The same desk where he had decided paper knew more than mud. Now the paper was working against him. He swallowed. "I'll have the release drafted today." His jaw moved once. Today. Mara walked out into the heat before he could make himself sound important again. By the end of August, the Ellis farm no longer smelled like panic. The north paddies had been divided into controlled harvest squares. Eli built shade racks from scrap lumber. Savannah sent refrigerated trucks twice a week. Mateo did not get exclusivity, but he did get the first restaurant feature, and he paid enough for the privilege to make peace with it. The rice did not fully recover that season. It did not have to. Saltglass Cress paid the mortgage, the fuel supplier, the mechanic, the seed dealer, and the property taxes before the first cool front touched the delta. By the following spring, Mara had stopped calling it a weed, not because it had become easy. It still cut gloves, it still spread where it pleased, it still forced her to learn a new kind of farming from the ground up. But the plant had done what no banker, crop report, or loan committee had been willing to do. It had made room for the farm to survive. One evening, Mara stood at the edge of the north paddies while the setting sun turned the water copper and silver. Eli came up beside her, carrying a crate of clean tips packed for shipment. "You ever think about what would have happened if you got that loan?" he asked. Mara looked at the cress moving in the shallow water. "I would have bought a machine to rip out our future." Eli nodded. Then he carried the crate toward the cooler. Mara stayed a moment longer. The bank had read the file, Mara had read the water. Only one of them knew what the field had been growing.